Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Unity Halton Peel. On this day when we've changed the calendar or the clocks, and it feels a little funny, but that's okay. We'll get it together today. So let us just take a moment to remind ourselves of our mission: to lovingly inspire transformation and be of service to the world. I realized I didn't introduce myself. My name is Wendy Carr, and I am a licensed Unity teacher, and it's my honor and privilege to be your group facilitator for today's gathering. So let us just take a moment, having just reminded myself of my mission and our mission. Let's just take a moment, allowing the week that has been, with all its sugar rushes, to be in the past and allow the future to be where it is. We'll get to it eventually. And just give ourselves permission to come together, to let go of whatever to-do list we have for this time. In this time, in this space, knowing that in spirit there is no time or space, and in YouTube and Facebook there is no time or space. We gather together, and we rejoice in our capacity for coming together. And for this time together, we are so grateful. And so it is. And now I'll call on Margaret to share our daily word for today.
Thank you, Wendy. Good morning, folks. Daily word for Sundays, November the 5th, transitions. I flow with life changes. Looking at my image in the mirror, I see myself at times when my life was changing. I may see a grinning child who lost a tooth for the first time, or a proud student on graduation day. Perhaps I recall my ambitions as I embarked on my career. Maybe I feel a tinge of sadness, revisiting the pain of loss I felt during my more difficult transitions. As I have grown spiritually, I have learned to flow with life's transitions. I know that even during the most challenging times, God remains a constant presence. I will always be divinely protected and one in God with the people I have loved. Moving willingly and gracefully through my transitions deepens and strengthens my awareness of God and myself as a divine being. For everything there is a season and a time for every matter under heaven. Ecclesiastes, verse 3, verse 1. Thank you.
Thank you, Margaret. Anyone else hear the song Turn, Turn, Turn? To everything there is a season. I won't sing it, but I'll just plant that earworm with you. All righty, our first song today is becoming one of my favorites. I Am the Place Where God Shows Up by Eddie Watkins Jr.
Am I strong enough to bear the burdens that sometimes come living this thing called life? Am I wise enough to make the right decisions when I'm standing at the fork in the road? Sometimes I wonder and ponder, only to realize I'm not alone, and there's nothing I have to do on my own, because I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. Will I have enough to do the things I need to do to take care of myself? Will I have the health of mind and body to live a life of grace and wholeness. Sometimes I wonder and ponder, only to realize I'm not alone and there's nothing I have to do on my own, because I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has his being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has his being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place. I am the place where God. You are the place. Moves and breathes and has we are the place. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place. I am the place where God. You are the place.
I do love that song. I hope you did too. And if you don't, let me know. I want to bring music that you folks like when I'm doing the presentation. So it's the first Sunday of November. So a brief happy birthday blessings to all the November babies. My mom just celebrated her 82nd birthday, and I'll be in big trouble because I told everybody how old she is, but oh well. And it was my godson's birthday this week. And he has gone from a teeny tiny 1 pound, 4 ounce preemie to a strapping young 26-year-old man who is doing amazing things. So got to get that in. So anyone who has a birthday this month, whether it's you or your family or your friends or your coworkers, happy birthday. It's wonderful that you're a November baby, and here we are. All right, for our second song, I think I've picked a favorite, but it fits so well into our theme of release for the month of November that I couldn't. And I'm thinking there might be a couple of you that know what's coming.
I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. Let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. Let the Spirit run my life. Oh, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God.
Oops. Sorry, folks. I hit a wrong button. And it was just a good part too. Okay, tell you what, those of you on the Zoom call will play it again after service so we can rock out. Thank you for your patience with me. It's I'm still learning. I'm teachable, you know. When I hit a button, it pops a menu and it stops the music and it doesn't go back to it. All right, so I'm just going to take a deep breath, and you know, it is what it is. So this week, of course, we changed our clocks. So in theory, we got another hour. I guess. I don't know about you all, but I found plenty to do to use that hour. It didn't feel like I had extra time. It actually kind of gave me some anxiety that I was going to be late for service, because it felt like it was wrong, because it's not time yet. It was going to be, I was going to do something wrong. Anyway, my problem. But if any of you had that anxiety, know that you're not alone. I too was feeling it. So for those of you who have been following along at Unity Halton Peel for the first Sunday of the month, or sometimes the second, you know that I've been doing a series in 2023 on our 12 powers. And we're almost done. We only have one more after this. And yes, I will work it into the Advent series. And what this is, for those of you who might be new or watching us on YouTube or Facebook, this is a way that our co-founder, Charles Fillmore, figured out to make spiritual teachings a little easier to digest. I like to compare spiritual teachings to being like a big hunk of cheese, the kind you see in a cheese shop that they haven't cut down yet. And it becomes a bit difficult, sometimes to take in all of the ideas and all of the principles and apply them. And sometimes it can feel overwhelming. And so what Charles did was he broke it down into 12, representing the 12 disciples, of course. And what we have done with these over the years, we've added colors, we've added places in the body, we've added some rituals around it, notably our Christmas candlelight service. And that's why I'm wearing a color I don't usually wear, this kind of russet color. That is the color for this month, which is release. It's been called renunciation. It's been called elimination. I don't like that word because it's got other connotations. And when I'm using material from other sources, I use the language of the source, because that's how that particular author used it. So it's the ability to release, remove, denounce, deny, and let go. Now, let me just clarify the word deny, because Unity uses that in a very specific way. We don't use it to say, I can't see it, it's not happening, this isn't real. We use it instead to say that the circumstances that I am in have no power over me. That as a spiritual being having a human experience, I can tap into something greater than myself and say, for example, when I was unemployed after I graduated from university, my denial was, this economy has no power to keep me from a good paying job where I am appreciated and my skills are valued. And you might guess I said that a few million times because it rolls off my tongue so easily even now. Thank you God I have a job, but at that time I needed to remind myself that all the things I was hearing about the economy, about my particular chosen field of employment, didn't have to be the end all and be all. So that's just a little Unity 101 on how we use the word deny and denial. It's to deny something has power over us, to keep us from our good, to keep us from being the full human being we can be, to keep us from expressing our true spiritual self. It's not about saying it didn't happen. It's not about condoning someone instead of saying this was wrong, this was, inappropriate. Okay, Unity 101 lesson over. The disciple is Thaddeus. He represents the expulsion of negative thinking. The corresponding color is russet, and the location is in the abdominal region. As always, I've been using this book, Discover Your God-Given Potential, 12 Spiritual Abilities to Change Your Life. It is available at our website for free download if you want to learn more. So as always, this is a 7-step. I got to find a different word for step, because, when you see the numbers, you assume that you're building on everything and it's going to be a linear, and it's not necessarily going to be that way. I liken it, as I have said many times this year, it's like a cha-cha, 1 step forward, 2 steps back. And sometimes it feels like you're playing snakes and ladders, and you hit that one square that sends you right to the back of the game. And that's okay, because you start again with the lessons that you have learned from being in that space, and you take it forward. We all have had, situations where it has felt like we've been pushed down and that we have perhaps failed. I would invite you to consider that instead as a learning experience. Take the lesson with you, leave behind the garbage that you don't need, which is what we're going to talk about today. So here are the steps. And I will refer to them, but I wanted to take this a little different direction, because to me, release is probably one of the greatest tools we have, and one of the tools that we don't use because, well, we want to call it, originally it was called renunciation. Well, that doesn't sound very empowering to my ear. Perhaps it does to you, not having the same life experience. And then elimination got to be real popular. Well, I know that my mother would not like that word. And she's 82. It's not an appropriate word for her. So I like to use release. And what I would like to invite you to do is take your hands, grip them as hard as you can. And I acknowledge that you may not be able to if your bones and tendons and ligaments aren't in the right place, but just hold them as tight as you can. All right, let go. Do you feel that blood flowing back in? Do you feel that ease of the muscles? That's what we're talking about. We're talking about opening ourselves up and finding the space, not only for spiritual growth, but for good mental health. And that's where I want to go this week, is just some thoughts about mental health, because let's face it, if Thanksgiving, Canadian Thanksgiving, for those of you watching online, and Halloween are over, that means the next big event for we Canadians is Christmas. Christmas, and if you observe it, Advent, can be a very stressful time for people. It is a huge trigger. Been there, done that. I remember Christmases where I was going to the mall and I walked in, I saw all the bright lights and I burst into tears because I was missing family members so badly that I just could not cope with going into the mall at that time. Now that's a high-end situation, but over time I have learned to release the sadness and replace it with the love, with the memories. And it takes time. And it takes being gentle with yourself to make space in this time, in this craziness. Literally, I was online overnight on Halloween night into the 1st of November. And literally, my Facebook feed went from Halloween kind of stuff and just general stuff to all Christmas advertising. Literally at 12:01. And I was just, I was gobsmacked. I mean, we've seen this coming, we've seen this happening. And it can be triggering for us. So what we're going to talk about now is some tools that we've got, some tools that we can use. None of them require anything other than maybe some paper and pencil. And you don't have to. I'm going to invite you to, though, because it's important for all of us to look out for each other. And sometimes just having a coffee and a conversation is enough. And sometimes we just need a reminder, just a gentle reminder. Hey, you remember that thing that Wendy talked about on Sunday? I'm still trying to figure that out. Can I talk to you about it? Can we bounce it off each other, see if we can figure out how this works? From our co-founder's second wife, Cora. Holding thoughts of unhappiness, sin, sickness, and poverty is the cause of much of the inharmony in the world. Inharmony. Oh, that's a good word, Cora. And it's kind of hard right now. It's kind of hard to avoid all of the news coverage all of the spin that's being put on it. So my first invitation for you, turn off the news. Don't watch it 24/7. Don't have your social media feed to buzz you every time it's got something to say. Release yourself from the ongoing deluge. That's the best word I can come up with. Is these reminders of unhappiness, sickness, and poverty. Because I would suggest, humbly, that a lot of the high-end warfare that's happening right now, underlying causes can be found in this, especially poverty. And I don't mean poverty of funds, I mean poverty of thoughts. A belief that if you have it, then I can't have it. That's not how it works in the spiritual world. It's not pie. Just because you take a piece doesn't mean that there's less for the rest of us. And sometimes I will watch a little bit of news just to keep my toe in the water, and I'll just shake my head and say, folks, there's more than enough for all of us. You just need to change your opinion and look a little differently at things. Whether or not that will happen, I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. But I would invite you to examine your own spiritual beliefs and human thoughts and just see, are there any thoughts that I've come through with? I was talking with someone and I realized that I had swept under the carpet a whole bunch of beliefs that I got from my church of origin as a child. Totally forgot about them until they were triggered. And they were triggered big time. And I needed to take some time and do some journaling and do some conscious meditation around them and release them from my thinking, because they weren't doing me any good. In fact, they were doing me harm by bringing up fear and anxiety that I really don't buy into anymore. But because they were there, it needed to be cleaned out. Which leads me into the next slide. I release any thought pattern leading to worry or anxiousness, turning my mind to divine wisdom. How do we do a release? Well, there's a number of techniques. One of my favorites is to do a burning, where I write stuff down and I put it in the barbecue and I set it ablaze. That may not be possible for you. It may be possible for you to use a shredder or just tear something up into really small pieces so that it's not part of your awareness anymore. And to, if the thought comes back, to remind yourself, no, I've torn that up. I've burned that. I have gotten rid of it. It's no longer in my consciousness. I don't want it. The vacant sign is out, or the no vacancy sign is up. There's no room for that thought anymore. I will put a vacancy sign up for all of the thoughts and beliefs that support me, that keep me healthy, that are good for my mental health. Because let's face it, we're physical beings. We need that mental health as well. I release resistance and experience acceptance. It can be hard to let go of thoughts and beliefs and feelings that you have had for a long time. There's a part of us that wants to hang on. But as we demonstrated for ourselves at the beginning, you hold on to it. There's no way to receive. If both hands are like this, and someone comes up to you and says, here's a plate of your favorite food, fill in the blank, how do you accept it? You can't. If your hands are like this, you have to release it and make yourself open for whatever good is coming your way. And that was a big lesson in the early unity movement, was that whereas commercialism teaches us that you have to give, one of the core spiritual principles that we often forget, I know I do, so I won't cast aspersions on anyone else. I will just claim it for myself. I often am more focused on giving to others than I am to taking care of myself, accepting good from others, accepting things that are coming my way. You know, one of the things I was taught as a child was, oh, you didn't have to. Forgetting the joy that we get in sharing, forgetting the joy that someone else gets in giving, because if we're all giving and no one's receiving, who are we giving to? Just some food for thought. I release all that does not contribute to my highest good. What is your highest good? Well-being, wholeness, prosperity, health of mind, health of body, mental health, health of your spiritual self. Sometimes we can get a little crazy there, or at least I can. Health of our finances, health in our relationships. So what do we need to release? Perhaps we've been holding on to a false belief about ourselves, that we're not worthy, or that we're too fat or too skinny, or that we're, you know, our hair isn't the right color or the right length or whatever. I invite you to do an inventory. Double check. Are there any things that's been swept under the carpet that you believe about yourself that need to come out and be examined carefully to see whether or not that is the truth about you with a capital T, or if it's something that needs to be let go of? And please, hear this. Please do any release work gently, acknowledging that there is a part of you that probably doesn't want to give it up and probably is resisting all over the place. And it may be, and I've forgotten which speaker this was, someone once said to have your anxieties and your concerns in for tea. Drink the tea and then invite them to leave. Acknowledge that, you know, your family of origin, if you had a church of origin, your schools that you went to, they didn't always know the best. They didn't always know spiritual principles. And to just breathe in and do some forgiveness work around that, however that looks for you. And release those memories, release the emotion behind those memories. If possible, refill those memories. My memories of my church of origin, for the most part, those that I have chosen to keep and mark as important to me, are all ones where I have gratitude for what the person taught me or what the Sunday school taught me. And this opportunity to look back and say, yeah, it wasn't what I needed. It wasn't necessarily the healthiest information I got. And it put me onto the path that I am on now. So without that knowledge, without that piece of kick in the butt, that it didn't feel right for me, I wouldn't be where I am now. And I am so grateful. There's about 10 people for whom I have great gratitude. I may not agree with their theology. I may not agree with how they did things. And I can appreciate how important they are to how my life has turned out. There must be a letting go of old thoughts before the new can find place in the consciousness. I know I've used this example before, but it's so perfect for this. Can you imagine what your residence would look like if instead of giving away the clothes that you outgrew, the clothes that just don't suit you anymore because, you know, that rock and roll shirt from the 70s that says disco across it just, you know, doesn't attract the right kind of vibe for you anymore. Can you imagine what your place would be like if all the clothing you ever had was in your residence right now? Can you imagine what your kitchen would look like if you never washed a dish? Can you imagine what your house would look like if there wasn't a way for your city or your county or your region to carefully get rid of what you don't need, the waste, the garbage? We need to make that space for the new. And I say that looking around my place and thinking, okay, I need to make a space and sometime this month where my Christmas tree is going to go, because that's important to me. I like having my Christmas tree up. And there's not room for it right now. I need to make the space. I need to put something away for a little while, or reorganize the furniture or something, so that I can have my tree up this year. And I know it's only the 5th of November. It's not going up. It doesn't go up until Grey Cup weekend. That's the tradition in my family. But making that space, finding that space in our head, in our outer space, within our homes, in our place of work if we have one, even in our vehicles. It might be that, you've forgotten to get all the recycles that you've tossed in the back seat. Guilty. That you need to get them out and clear that out. What we do on the outer also impacts our inner. And so I'll invite you for this month of release to find ways to release and let go. Find ways to unclench your fists and say, I'm willing to let this go. I'm willing to take what is good for me, what is memorable for me, and let the rest just float off, whether it's to the air, to inflame, or wash it down, get some of that paper that doesn't, really doesn't damage the septic system or the piping. Find ways. Maybe even just go out in the forest and talk to the trees, talk to the birds. Allow yourself that permission to release. So thank you. Whatever I release will bless me. And that's the key. Now, usually at this point, we do a meditation. It being the 5th and Saturday being the 11th, it was important to me to honor Remembrance Day. That is something that is part of my practice. So with that, I will invite you to bring to mind anyone in your family who served, whether it was in the form of a soldier. I have a distant relative who was killed in France in the First World War. I have a distant family member on my dad's side who was killed in France in World War II. My grandfather, my maternal grandfather, served as an architect and designed things to assist the war effort during World War II. I have a great uncle who was a conscious dissenter, protester or pacifist, who did not serve. He remained in Canada, and he served as a teacher and took care of the kids. My father-in-law was a physician. He took on the practices of other physicians so they could go overseas. And I have a maternal great uncle who was a diplomat, and he served in England, doing what he could to bring peace during Second World War. And then my late husband had many memories of growing up during the war. So it's a part of who I am. So I would like us to listen to, if you feel you know the song. I know I've used it before, but very infrequently. This was written by Terry Kelly, a Canadian, and it's called A Pittance of Time. And at the conclusion of the song, we will have the traditional 2 minutes of silence. You know what I did? One moment. I'm just going to pause the recording. All right, let's see if that is fixed now.
They fought and some died for their homeland. They fought and some died. Now it's our land. Look at his little child. There's no fear in her eyes. Could he not show respect for other dads who have died? Take 2 minutes, would you mind? It's a pittance of time for the boys and the girls who went over. In peace may they rest. May we never forget why they died. It's a pittance of time. God forgive me for wanting to strike him. Give me strength so as not to be like him. My heart pounds in my breast, fingers pressed to my lips. My throat wants to bawl out, my tongue barely resists. But 2 minutes I will bide. It's a pittance of time for the boys and the girls who went over. In peace may they rest. May we never forget why they died. It's a pittance of time. Read the letters and poems of the heroes at home. They have casualties, battles, and fears of their own. There's a price to be paid if you go, if you stay. Freedom's fought for and won in numerous ways. Take 2 minutes, would you mind? It's a pittance of time for the boys and the girls all over. May we never forget our young become vets at the end of the line. It's a pittance of time. It takes courage to fight in your own war. It takes courage to fight someone else's war. Our peacekeepers tell of their own living hell. They bring hope to foreign lands that hate mongers can't kill. Take 2 minutes, would you mind? It's a pittance of time for the boys and the girls who go over. In peacetime our best still don battle dress and lay their lives on the line. It's a pittance of time. In peace may they rest, lest we forget why they died. Take a pittance of time.
Thank you. And that concludes our tribute. As always, Unity Prayer Chaplains are available. Diane Riley is our lead prayer chaplain, and you can reach out to her at praywithdiane@gmail.com. She will forward the request to the rest of the prayer team, who will hold your request in confidence. And at the end of 30 days of prayer, the requests are forwarded to Silent Unity, our international prayer ministry, where they will be prayed over for another 30 days. We are so grateful for your financial gifts. There are a number of ways you can support us, and we thank you in advance for your generosity. As always, we will be supporting Eden Food for Change, which is one of our favorite organizations to support. They're more than just a food bank. They provide a number of training and other backup facilities for folks who need a hand up at this time. As always, if you're seeing this for the first time and you haven't joined our newsletter, please do so. Head to our website and find resources, and you can click on the newsletter and then enter your information. And then you will get updates on events that are upcoming, the Zoom links for the events, and other information. Also available under resources is the 12 Powers booklet that I mentioned earlier. Coming this and every Friday, Affirmative Prayer Circles, which is a project of Debbie Leland, who is a LUT pastoral care candidate. She will join us as a full licensed Unity teacher next year. We just graduated and certified 2 new licensed Unity teachers in Canada, which is very exciting to see folks moving down the path of greater spiritual awareness and sharing it with others. So every Friday, this is available, and I encourage you to join her. She's got folks across the country coming in. Next Sunday, we'll welcome Dr. Reverend Jane Simmons. She will talk about the 3 R's. Next Friday, 2 Fridays hence, on the 17th of November, Karen Drucker will be doing a Zoom-based concert. And it is being organized by Unity Kitchener. If you go to their website, you will find more information. They're asking for tickets of $25. This actually is the concert that was supposed to be in May and had to be postponed. So we're finally getting our chance to be with Karen. I know I've got my ticket, and I'm really excited to see her. She is a great musician and songwriter, and I can't wait. It's going to be a great evening. On the following Sunday, Reverend Barbara Schreiner Trudell will join us, and she's always a welcome addition. My fellow LUT, Debbie Long, will be rounding out the month and talking about praying peace. Starting the 29th of November, we will have across Canada, possibly across North America, Advent discussion group, and it'll be 4 weeks. And I and my fellow LUTs will be facilitating this, and I'm looking forward to it. I just got my booklet in the mail, and it has a great title and lots of great stories inside. I believe that is all the announcements. Have I missed anything, Madam President?
No, we're good to go. Thanks, Wendy. Thank you very much.
All right. Now that we've done the administrative part, let us reach into our hearts and see the children, knowing that this week was Halloween, their time to shine, to show off their creativity, show off how they can image an idea for their costumes and bring it into manifestation. And how well they know how much candy is left and whether parents or other grown-ups have stolen some. And let us join together and say, children and youth of unity and of the world, we love you, we bless you, and we appreciate you just the way you are. And as we bring our gathering to a close, let us join in unity's prayer. The light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. The presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever we are, God is. I am divine. And we'll ask Sue Riley very sweetly to sing us out.
Peace in my life is growing because I choose love. Love's always present, it's what I'm made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one tie that binds us, that can't be undone. I choose love. Peace in my family is growing because I choose love. Let love be present, it's what we're made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one loving family, sharing one son. I choose love. Yes, I do. I choose love. Peace for our planet is growing because I choose love. Let love be present, it's what we're made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one choice unites us. Let this be the one. I choose love. I choose love. I choose
Thank you so very much, Wendy. Everyone is invited to open their mics now. If you'd like to say hello, ask any questions, have a discussion, please open your mics now.